Hey mama, are you feeling overwhelmed? Like no matter how hard you try, you're still not the mom you know you were meant to be? I get it, and I'm here to tell you you were designed for more. And together, we can get you there. Welcome to the Nature to Nurture podcast. I'm Tiffany, an early childhood specialist, advocate, and mom on this journey with you. I've spent years supporting families and working with children in those critical first 5 years of life, where every moment counts. But here's the thing. The same caregiving practices that help 0 to 5-year-olds thrive are the very same practices that help us, as adults, live purposeful, connected, and thriving lives. It all begins with intention, mindfulness, and showing up for ourselves and our kids. In this podcast, I'll help you discover simple tips and practices for raising your little ones with intention and care, while also guiding you to become the caregiver that you've always wanted to be, the one that you dream of. Each week, I'll share stories from my own life, some practical strategies, and research-backed insights to help you slow down, reconnect, and find joy in the everyday moments. Whether it's creating a bit of time for unstructured play, setting up your nurturing routines, or taking care of yourself as you care for your kids. This is the place for you. If you're ready to embrace the kind of motherhood that feels aligned with who you truly are, be sure to follow the podcast, leave a review, and join our supportive community. We are here to lift each other up every step of the way. All right, Mama, let's dive into today's episode. This morning, I woke up to a quiet world. The early morning light was super soft. I could see the purple peeking up over the edge of the mountains on the horizon. And in the not so far off distance, I could hear the call of the coyotes yip-yapping at each other across the field. And I stood there, feeling the cold air against my cheeks and my nose, smelling the air, the crisp, cool winter air, tasting my hot coffee. In this moment, I was fully present. I was free from the urgency of life. And as I breathed in, I could feel it. I felt calm. I felt clarity. I felt healing. This might sound peaceful, but for me, I want you to know that getting to this moment, it wasn't easy. I have lived through trauma and toxic stress, not just in my early years, but also throughout my life. I know what it feels like to be stuck in survival mode, always on guard and rushing just to stay afloat, just to breathe a little bit. But I've also learned. I've learned that survival doesn't have to be the whole story. And today, I'm going to be talking about slowing down, not just as a way to enjoy life, but as a path to heal from those wounds, to change the story that we tell ourselves and our families, and to really reclaim what trauma has taken from us. If you have ever felt like you are trapped in the rush, if you've been overwhelmed by stress, if you feel so disconnected from the present moment in front of you, this episode's for you. Today, we're going to explore how early trauma impacts our brains and our bodies, and how those patterns affect us not only in early childhood, but also follow us into adulthood. And how those purposeful choices, like slowing down, can help us heal and rewrite our stories today. Together, we're going to dive into the science, personal stories, and a couple of super quick, practical steps to start this journey. Let's take a second to really understand what is trauma and toxic stress. I know those are words that are thrown around a lot lately, and I want to make sure that you know what that actually means. So trauma during childhood could be something like neglect, abuse, constant instability, dealing with a parent that's suffering from depression. All of this, it wires the brain for survival. This is your body's way of keeping you safe in the moment. But ultimately, it comes at a cost. You see, the amygdala, which is your brain's alarm system, it becomes hyperactive. It's always on the lookout for danger because that's what it learned. It learned that it did not have stability, right? Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, or the part that's responsible for focus and decision making, as well as the hippocampus, which is responsible for managing your memory, they can underdevelop, leaving you stuck in a state of hypervigilance or emotional overwhelm. And if you're listening to all of this, you might say, that sounds like the symptoms of ADHD as well. How does this show up in adulthood, right? Well, it could look like you are always feeling on edge, just waiting for something bad to happen. It might look like you have difficulty relaxing or slowing down, even when you're in a safe situation, even when you're at home, even when nothing is there to be worried about, your mind is still racing. It might look like you are struggling to actually connect with joy, to feel it, to be present in the moment that you're actually at. I know. I've seen those patterns in my own life. I've rushed through moments, always on high alert, not knowing how to fully relax. I've seen how these patterns show up in my children. And it really makes me wonder, how far back do these patterns go? How many generations before me carried this exact same weight? But here's what I do know. It doesn't have to stay this way. We can change those patterns for ourselves, for our children, and for all of the generations that follow. You see, trauma wires our brains for survival, but healing them rewires them for safety, for connection, and for peace. Let's talk about the power, the healing power of slowing down. I remember waking up consistently, morning after morning after morning, at 3 o'clock in the morning, with my mind racing, running, with all of the things that I had to do, with all of the tasks, with all of the what ifs this happens, fantasizing about the worst and trying to figure out how I can solve that, even though that's not a problem that I actually have. It was horrible. But taking the steps to actually bring my body down, to slow down, to work on rewiring my brain, it's so healing. And I want you to experience that. I really do. So let's talk about why it works. Slowing down is actually helping you to shift your nervous system from that fight, flight, freeze mode to the rest and digest mode. This is going to help to reduce those stress hormones, to calm your body down, and to actually open up and give space for emotional healing. I remember wanting to heal, wanting to take care of all of that stuff inside of me that I knew needed attention, but I didn't even have the space to do that. I really had to start by slowing down, feeling safe, before I could actually deal with that emotional healing. Now here I come with my nature piece again. Nature amplifies this effect. So many studies have shown us that spending time outside lowers our heart rate, our blood pressure, reduces our stress, and improves our overall well-being. It literally heals us when we're able to touch the ground, breathe in with the trees, and experience all of that sensory input. Literally, it heals us. Slowing down really has been one of the most healing choices that I've chosen. Ooh, I love that. I want to share with you some moments that taught me this. These are a couple of things over the past week that I've been able to slow down and notice. And they're powerful, extremely powerful. the coyote song. How beautiful. Sitting quietly this morning, hearing the call of a coyote, it reminded me of the power of stillness. What can you hear calling out when you take a minute to be still? Or watching the sunrise. I've shared this a lot. It really has been a daily ritual for me. A ritual that has helped me to shift my perspective from rushing in the morning to being grateful. Added with that is the fact that it is a tradition that my grandfather also used to have. So not only do I get time to slow down, but I get time to connect as well, right? 2 days ago, we were so happy because finally, literally after 6 months, our new chickens laid their very first egg. I'm not exactly sure which chicken laid the egg, so I don't know what type of egg it is, but it's beautiful. It's blue, and it's so special. And literally collecting the eggs, taking a minute to turn them over, to look at their beautiful markings, the beautiful fact that they were created inside of a chicken in like 2 to 3 days is crazy, is amazing. To share that with my family, for us all to have the joy of seeing this new egg, yay! Something that we've been waiting so long for. It only would have happened if we learned how to slow down. Without taking that second, I don't know that it really would have even mattered that we had a new blue egg, right? It just would have been, oh, another egg. No, this one was special. Another fun reminder I've had every morning, it is fun, is this song, this bird song. In the mornings, I've been waking up, I've been making a cup of coffee or tea, sitting down, watching that sunrise, and a bird keeps on singing to me. And it's a song that I was not really familiar with. It sounded a little bit like maybe a hawkling, or an eagle. I wasn't sure. It was a beautiful song though. And I kept looking around trying to figure out what bird is making that song to me every morning. I figured it out this week. It's a woodpecker. I don't know if it's a boy. I think it's a boy. It sounds like he's out there mating. But hearing his song each morning has been so fun, so beautiful, seeing him out there, reminding me to take a second to listen to the birds, to be present, and to see those routines, those natural routines that are happening, right? Reminds me that each morning, that persistent little woodpecker tells us that we also need to take a second, search for connection, and heal. And the last thing that I encountered this past week is a tarantula. And my husband sees them all the time. I don't see them that often, but we actually have one that's been hanging out around our garage lately. And I am a bit terrified of spiders. I know tarantulas are not dangerous, but I am still a bit terrified. But the fact that this tarantula has been hanging out has given me the opportunity to be in that fight or flight mode, right? Or freeze mode. I think that's what I do with the spiders, as I freeze. And take a breath. Realize that I am safe. I don't need to be in that mode. And that there's beauty. Watching him is beautiful. How he moves slowly right now because it is winter. But looking for the sun, looking for the heat, right? It's super special to just slow down. And I want to tell you, slowing down isn't just about rest. It's about really creating the space to process, the space to heal, the space to grow. When we don't take time to address our own trauma, we unintentionally are passing it down through our actions, through our words, through the ways that we respond to stress. And this is called generational trauma. As a parent, I see how my own unhealed patterns are affecting my kids. I see them take on stress, anxiety, or rushing that isn't even theirs to carry. And that's when it clicks in me that my healing isn't just about me. It's about them too. I remember when I was pregnant, this is when I really first started digging into how trauma and stress can be passed on. And I had some crazy stuff going on while I was pregnant. If you want to talk about stress, your mom won't talk to you about being pregnant at all because she's frustrated with the fact that you are pregnant. My spouse was going through addiction, and that was intense as well. We didn't have a home of our own. I mean, the list goes on and on. But anyways, while I was pregnant, I did this research, and I saw that stress is actually passed on in uterus. When your kids are still developing in your belly, you're passing on that stress. And so I specifically remember whenever something would pop up, I would tell myself, don't stress about it. You're going to pass it on to the kids. Breathe, let it go. All you can do is take the next step forward. Whoosah, lots of that, right? And truthfully, I don't even know how far back the patterns go of having that stress. But I am certain about one thing. That story is changing with me. By slowing down, by prioritizing healing, I am giving my children a different foundation. I'm giving them one that is safe, that is present, and that is full of possibility. And this is something that I continually will have to work on. I know that I have changed immensely in understanding my own trauma and in the way that I behave, the patterns that I have. And I've had to change that myself for my kids. The rushing. I hate always having to go, always having to do something, always having to fix something, always having to be. And I purposefully have been having to really focus on that with myself, to slow down, to be in the moment, to know that the next second, minute, day is going to come, and I don't have to rush to get it all managed, to be in control. But my daughter learned that from me, and now she is always rushing, trying to make sure that everything is in control. And I don't want that. And so now, not only do I have to rewire my mind, but I'm having to show them a new pattern and to rewire my children's mind as well. And it's hard. I know, and I hope you know, you are not responsible for the trauma that you inherited. No. But you are responsible for the healing that you create. It starts with you, and it can ripple out for generations. So, how do you start healing today? Well, it's going to be through those purposeful choices. I have 4 quick actions for you to take to really get started in slowing down and healing yourself. The first one is daily grounding practices. You can start your day by noticing something beautiful, like the sound of the bird, my little woodpecker friend, or maybe you go up and you open up the window and you stare out the window with the sun on your face and you just feel the heat of the sun on your face. Take 5 deep breaths when you're feeling rushed. Do that square breathing that we talked about when you're at the stoplight. Practice each day something to bring you down, to bring you present, and to get you out of that fight, flight, or freeze mode. The second tip, surprise, I want you to journal. I want you to write about these moments of quiet and what they remind you of, what they're teaching you about what is coming to you when you have these times of stillness. You can use prompts like, what did you notice today when you slowed down? Or what would healing look like for you? Or what really matters to you? Drill it down. Why? Why does that matter so much? The third thing, I want you to set some boundaries with time. Learning to say no to things that are draining your energy and saying the yes to the things that are actually nurturing your soul is very important. Set up times of the day that you are focused on those things that you have to do, like work, those things that you have to do, like taking care of the house, and set time for those things that really nourish your soul and the soul of your families, like having dinner together, taking a walk, saying good morning without a rush. I also want you, surprise, surprise, to engage with nature. Go outside, take a walk, sit under the tree, or simply just observe and let nature guide you back to where you are in this present moment. I know that we are getting ready to see the snow come, and you might have mixed feelings about that. But it's only there temporarily, right? Everything changes the next day. So take some time to really observe what's going on with the snow, what's going on with the tree outside of your house. Are the animals changing their patterns? What is the smell of the air outside? Can you tell what the weather's going to be like? I want you to add these 4 activities to your daily practice. Again, practice a grounding principle. Really be present. Feel it, smell it, listen to it, think about it. Number 2, journal or reflect on what you noticed during that still time. Number 3, set boundaries with your time. And number 4, engage with nature. It's healing. You see, healing is a journey, and every single step, every action that you take, it matters. When you slow down, you're not just reclaiming your peace, but you are creating a ripple effect of healing for everyone around you, for your children, for your partner, for your parents, for your friends, and you. Yes, you. You're capable of this. And I know it's scary to get started, but I also want you to know I'm proud of you for taking that first step, for recognizing that you need to heal yourself so that your cup can overflow onto others, and for starting this work. I want to invite you to unwrap the most meaningful gifts of all, the ones that are designed to transform you and your year ahead. Over the next month, I'm going to be sharing a special December series called Gifts for the Souls. During this time, we're going to be stepping away from the commercial frenzy of the holidays to focus on gifts that empower you, that nurture your growth, and that create a joyful, peaceful, and prosperous year ahead. Each week, actually 2 times a week, I'll be diving into a unique gift you can give yourself. Gifts that aren't wrapped up in pretty paper, but instead wrapped in self-love, boundaries, acceptance, and connection. These are the gifts that truly keep on giving. Make sure to tune in, because it is the perfect way to step into the new year with purpose and with peace and with love. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know, how are you slowing down in life? Do you have questions about where to start? What do you think? Feel free to send me a voice message using the link in the show notes down below. And who knows, I might even share your story or your question in an upcoming episode. So let's connect, let's learn from one another, and let's continue this journey together. Sharing our experiences, slowing down, and nurturing our family.